All right, welcome into Before Floor, an extension of 5 on the Floor here on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. We got Brady Hawk. You can follow him at Brady Hawk 305. Jonathan Romlicon, you can follow at 3-Piece Combo. Ricky J. Mark, you can follow at Ricky J. Mark. And Alejandro Villegas, you can follow at Alejandro VG32. Greg Sylvander, who you can follow at Greg Sylvander, will be following us to the stream here any second. He will be back in a minute. All right, we are sponsored, as always, by our friends over at Biscayne Bay Brewing, the official beer of the 5 Reasons Sports Network and of the Miami Marlins. Try the Tropical Bay IPA the next time that you're at FTX Arena. The Heat will be back there on Saturday, actually, against the Nets, so you can check it out then. And you can get the Tropical Bay IPA, the Marlins Lager, Regatta Double IPA, Pastime Pilsner, and all the other great beers at your local supermarkets, such as Winn-Dixie, Publix, also Whole Foods is bestseller there at Whole Foods, and many local restaurants, including our partners Quarterdeck at their locations. You can find it there as well. Support local. Again, this is the official beer of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also sponsored by our friend Mark Brown. You can find him at marcbrownpa.com. If you need an estate plan, sit down with him like I did. Make sure that everything that you have is going to the people you want it to go to. That's very important. It doesn't matter what age you're at. Build your estate plan today. He can sit down with you. It's affordable. He'll go through all the forms with you and make sure that you do it the correct way that you want to do it, because it's for you. Also, he has got a title company right there in-house, so if you got any real estate you need to divest to somebody, he can handle that, and he can handle your closing while you're living, which is great. 954-566-5678, 954-566-5678. It's our friend Mark Brown at marcbrownpa.com. All right, let's get to it. We got the Heat and the Hornets tonight. The Heat kind of got back on track a little bit against the Spurs, but of course that was kind of a B team for the Spurs. They looked like they were auditioning Thaddeus Young for the Heat. They didn't have their full complement of players. The Hornets are playing pretty well right now. A weird game for them the other night against Cleveland, but they're in this mix. There seem to be like 10 or 11 competitive Eastern Conference teams this year, which is rare, and Charlotte is going to be one of those teams fighting to stay out of the play-in if they can. Brady, who's in, who's out?
Yeah, for Miami, Jimmy Butler was probable. He's available. Caleb Martin's available, who I don't think was going to find any way not to play this game back against Charlotte. Max Strus is out with a quad, and then PJ Tucker was questionable. And they basically said he's warming up with the intention to play, which if he's ever warming up in general with a questionable tag, it always feels like he's going to push to end up playing. So that's basically it. Charlotte on the other side is decently healthy. And it's just one of those teams that's tough to play against because there's so many guys that can pop offensively. Like you look at last night. Well, Terry Rozier is incredible. Kelly Oubre can get you off the bench. There's just so many different offensive punches that I think this is an intriguing game for Miami defensively, like how they could stop these type of young patching teams.
Yeah, and no Max Strus tonight, as you mentioned. Martin's in, so you would figure, Jonathan, that Martin sucks up some of those minutes off the bench here again. But it will be curious. I mean, Charlotte doesn't play particularly big. Like Brady says, they like to spread the floor a lot. They've been leading the league in scoring for most of the year. But you could see Martin back as the backup 4 again tonight. We're going to talk about that backup 4 situation some as we go forward here because there was some news on that today. But without Strus, they don't have another shooter there. So how do you think that plays out?
We're going to have to continue to move the ball. Charlotte is one of the worst teams defensively overall, but at defending, against assists. So if we continue to move the ball and look for the right shots, I think that's how we're going to have to beat this team. They're a really fast-paced team, and they score a lot of points like Brady alluded to. They have 6 or 5 guys on the season averaging 16 or more. So we're going to have to really lock down defensively. But on the offensive side, continue to move the ball and limit the assists as well, or limit the turnovers because they're a fast break. They're a team that operates well on the fast break too.
Ricky, we've talked a lot about the top of the East, okay? And now some of the teams we thought would be at the top of the East are sinking towards the middle at the bottom of the East, like, say, Brooklyn. But there was an assumption before this season that it was kind of, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Milwaukee for sure in that mix, maybe Miami in that mix of the top teams, maybe Philadelphia in that mix. Maybe Chicago would get it together. And I think through about the first 30 to 35 games of the season, we said those were the 5. But now we're starting to see, Charlotte, Toronto, Boston, all playing better than they were earlier. Cleveland is better than we expected. I'm already at 9 teams there. So when you look at the Heat situation, is there anybody that you think when you get to the first round you want to avoid? Because the Heat are going to be a playoff team. We just don't know where.
I think at this point, when you're considering what this team's aspirations are, championship or bust, at least in the eyes of guys like Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, I think the narrative of whether or not we should avoid anybody, I think that's a detriment to whether or not this team deserves or even is worthy of being considered a contender at that level. Because at this point, if this team is truly built, like many Heat fans believe this team is built to win a championship, then avoiding a team, well, it is what it is. I don't think it's something that you should have to worry about as much. While I understand the need for being ready and not having to overexert yourself in the first few rounds before you get to the conference finals, at this point you got to take whatever you get and let the chips fall where they may, considering the fact that the belief is that this team is a contender. As far as the top part of the East, I've never been convinced about the New Jersey Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, as far as their championship contention. The Sixers have been a bit remarkable given how close the Eastern Conference has been and how they're missing some of their key pieces. They were on a 5-game winning streak before they lost. I think they lost to the Dallas Mavericks over I think last night. And with Boston, Cleveland, guys like that, they started off rough. They're doing better, but teams like that tend to have waves where they're doing well right now, but they probably will hit another snag in the road later on this season. I think Miami's snag won't be as painful as those other teams because my belief is that they're better built. But ultimately, in terms of worrying about who's going to be waiting for you in the first round, look, if you're a championship contender, you don't worry about that sort of thing. You roll the ball out, you let them do their thing, and you say Heat in 5, like we always see in the comments.
Greg, you're obviously in that area. You see Charlotte a lot. We talk about, again, if you're a championship contender, you shouldn't fear anybody. But we have seen Toronto's length, a bit of a problem for Miami. Cleveland's height, a bit of a problem for Miami. What is a bit of a problem for Miami with Charlotte? Is it kind of what Brady has gotten into about their ability? Basically, they have LaMelo Ball conducting the offense, and they got a lot of shooters.
Yeah, I think that word we keep using for this Heat team, it's like ignitability, right? Like that team can go on runs. I watched the game last night against Cleveland. It was a crazy one between Charlotte and Cleveland, and they lost in a heartbreaking fashion by I think 1 point. But and LaMelo was benched, so I think that's something interesting to watch tonight with LaMelo and how he approaches a game like tonight where he was out the last 5 minutes. But a team led by him, sometimes they just they get on rolls. They're a lot of fun to watch. Terry Rozier can score 35 in a game, so they just have these different elements of a team, but not one that I think Miami would ever fear. To Ricky's point, if we're all going to sit around, myself included, being the primary hope trafficker that this is a championship contender, we fear none of these teams down there at the bottom. You know what I mean? So I ultimately think regular season, yeah, they could go either way. Playoff time, none of these teams are of concern.
Well, we'll see, though. The trade deadline's in a week, and teams are going to get better. I think what this is going to lead to, and this is going to get to the next point, because there was some news today, or seemed like news, is that over the next week, there are a lot of teams that are going to feel like they're in the mix here. This was one of the reasons I was told by Heat management they overpaid for Kyle. They acknowledged they overpaid for Kyle Lowry this offseason, but they're like, you had to do that because there were 6, 7, 8 teams that thought they could win a championship this year. There may be more than that now, honestly. Maybe some of them are kidding themselves, but there are a lot of teams here that are in the mix, certainly in the mix for playoffs, and some teams that haven't been in the playoffs in a while, like Cleveland. Charlotte hasn't consistently been in the playoffs. Toronto was supposed to take a major fall. They haven't. And so I feel like a lot of those teams are going to make a push in the Eastern Conference in particular to kind of move up. We've already seen it with the Clippers. The Clippers don't have their 2 stars right now. They might not have one of them for the entire season, and they just basically heisted Portland to upgrade their chances this year either way. But I want to get to the Markieff Morris thing here. I don't want to revisit what happened with Jokic. We don't need to do that. We've done that enough on our threads. What I want to get to is this, and I'll start here with you, Greg, and then we'll pivot back to everybody else. You know the organization here. I don't feel like this was a good thing for Markieff Morris today, the way that this played out. And I honestly would be surprised to see him play for the Heat again based on some of these things that played out in the past. We have known, if you're not familiar, Barry Jackson and Anthony Chang put out a story in which they basically said that Markieff had a pre-existing condition that has led to some of what has gone on now with him being out for this period of time. We, of course, know Markieff keeps saying he's going to be back soon. He's on the court. He has been back. Greg and I both reported he was going to be back like 2 months ago on like a Wednesday that week. It didn't happen because then I heard he wasn't cleared at the time. Markieff has challenged the story today. He basically, which, made the rounds. He says he has been cleared now. I don't know what date he's referring to on that, and that there is no issue. Both sides are concerned. But I'll go to you on this, Greg. We've seen this play out with Justice Winslow one way, where Justice thought he was hurt and the Heat really didn't think he was hurt. That ended up with Justice traded. We saw this play out with Chris Bosh, where there was a lot of tension. The Heat were trying to do the right thing by Chris. Chris at the time didn't think so. Now I think he's changed his mind afterwards, which is why his relationship with the organization is good. What do you think of this? Because to me, it's more than just Markieff's health now. It's they don't like when this stuff gets out there public. Markieff put it out there today.
Yeah, no, I think that you and I carefully said on multiple episodes of Five on the Floor that we didn't expect a contribution from Markieff Morris for the rest of the year. And I think that was our way of tap dancing around this. I'm glad that Barry and Anthony got it out into the atmosphere so that now you and I can address it more openly on Five on the Floor. But the Heat, to the point of why this has not been common public knowledge sooner, is that they would prefer this kind of stuff stay in house. So I just think that is something to look at. And then there's roster elements to this too. And I don't want to jump ahead of myself because I'm sure you're going to direct traffic somewhere in that direction. But I would say I would not count on Markieff Morris contributing for this Miami Heat team. I think it's far more likely he would be part of a consolidation move of some kind. I don't see them clearing him anytime soon. And maybe I'm wrong. It's just the liability stuff, I guess, is where this is heading.
Yeah. All right. Now, Brady, let me pivot to you on this because the trade deadline is now in 5 days, and we'll have a bunch of specials on here. It's coming up on Thursday. If Markieff Morris is not going to be available in the season, they've survived it, no question, but they've had to adjust. Tucker's played more minutes than he was gonna. Caleb Martin's had to play some 4. Others have had to pitch in at the 4. Spoelstra's experimented with, Dedmon and Bam together. Maybe he'll experiment a little more with Yurt and Bam together now that Yurt is back. Do you think, in your view, they need to make a trade, not just what Greg is saying, which I think is a possibility, a consolidation trade, but a trade to actually get another 4 on the roster? Because it does seem like you're not going to play Haslam. Akpala is, on the trade block, hasn't been available, that they may need one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go as far as absolutely need, but I think they should. I don't think there's a reason to go down the rest of the season and have a luxury there. I think it depends a lot on how much do they trust Omer Yurtseven. As much as fans want to see Bam at the 4 with him at the 5, does Spo trust that enough down the stretch of a season? Does he trust Dedmon and Bam next to each other more than a 5-minute stint? I think that'll kind of show where they stand. But I think the biggest thing about the need for this is PJ Tucker is playing every game. And we're looking at another game like this, and it's questionable tag, and they're going down to the end, and he's going through warmups, and he's playing. It just takes a toll. If we're talking about a team that's in contention in the East, and that's probably one of their most valuable players overall, not just valuable role players, he's one of their most valuable players. They have to preserve him somehow. They've done it with Kyle Lowry, and they kind of survived in that state because they had Gabe Vincent step up. I just don't know if they have that type of guy on this roster right now to step up into a PJ role. If he, rolls an ankle and he goes out for 2.5 weeks, I just don't know if they could survive that. So I think it's more of taking maybe a consolidation trade at the bottom of the roster, getting just a viable option to throw in there. Because as we know, they're going to go down the stretch of the season into the playoffs, and they're going to go 8. They're going to go 7. This is not a guy that's going to be used a ton. It's just going to be a luxury to kind of get through. And I think it's kind of the opposite. I think they're in a good spot compared to these other teams because you mentioned them. Toronto goes 5. They need basically another player in addition to kind of push them over the edge. Cleveland has Ricky Rubio and Sexton go down. They probably need a guard. Charlotte on the other side, they look like they need a big. There's teams that need that actual piece in their starting lineup for that 6th man. This team just needs a 10th man, and I don't think it's too hard to find.
Of the 4s that I've seen floated out there that would actually be in an 8-man rotation in the playoffs, not even close, but being an 8-man rotation, maybe a Marcus Morris, which would be ironic, obviously, probably using that word incorrectly, or maybe a Christian Wood potentially. those guys, you're going to have to move something. You're going to have to move Duncan for them. I mean, that's just to make the money work. I mean, that's just the way that this is. So Jonathan, I'll pivot to this. Is it? Well, that's another debate, and I'm sure it's one we're going to have over the next week. But I'll go to this just on the smaller scale, Jonathan. If you take a look at, I mean, let's say it's a smaller move. Let's say it's to, I don't know, get a Thad Young or one of these other pieces that could be a functional piece in low minutes. Again, Tucker protection, basically. Okay, so is it worth moving one of the young guys you like? Duncan's another story because Duncan, you need that contract for some of the bigger players. But I'm talking about, is it worth moving a Yurt? Is it worth moving a Gabe Vincent? Is it worth moving a Strus? Somebody like that to get yourself a stopgap big who is basically, again, Tucker protection and probably almost certainly won't close unless Tucker's hurt, and maybe not even then, and may or may not be part of the playoff rotation.
Yeah, I think with the potential of Victor Oladipo coming back, we always talk about these guys, two of them are probably going to fall out the rotation, least likely being Martin. So if Max Strus or Gabe Vincent has to get moved or, is in a trade to get moved, so you can give Bam, you can give PJ, and you can give Dedmon a little bit extra rest. I think that's an important move for this team because to Brady's point, you have to preserve our best players. We saw what happened in the finals the last time we were there. We had Goran go down because he was a little bit older and playing a lot harder than he was normally used to. So if we're having PJ pick up a huge role in what he's doing right now, we can't have him falling apart in the third round of the playoffs when we need him most. So if we need to make a small move to get a piece right now and give up just a little bit on the back end on one of these young players that we like, I say we make that move right now and you try to get that win now.
All right. Well, this is the kind of a preview of our trade deadline coverage that we're going to have all week, starting Monday here, leading up until the Thursday night show. Let's get to the picks tonight. We appreciate everybody joining us. Of course, all the comments. If you throw us the super chat money, we definitely will read the comments, but Alejandro throwing them on the board for you anyway here tonight. But we'll make sure to read them if you give us a little donation here. Mark Brown, PA, sponsors our predictions. Let's go to it. Let's start with you, Ricky, tonight. Friday night on the road. What do you think?
I'm sorry?
It's
Friday night on
Saturday.
the road.
It's Saturday, but it's okay.
Oh, yeah, because that.
Oh,
already
Saturday.
happened.
I'm sorry. I think
I'm
it's
like-
something. I'm totally backed up. Just go with it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. All right, no problem. I think Miami might actually take this one tonight. Normally, I would probably say a scrappy, annoying, athletic team like the Hornets can actually give Miami trouble and have in the past. But I think tonight is one that they probably get. There will be some annoying losses between now and, say, the end of the month, but I don't think this will be one of them.
No Malik Monk on Charlotte. That's a good thing. Although they did seem to solve the Malik Monk thing the last time against the Lakers. What do you think, Brady?
Yeah, I think we talk about certain players in this pregame show heading into games. One of them is Tyler Hero. The other one is Bam Adebayo. I feel like this is the opposite of this, where this is a Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler game. People were talking about it in the comments. This is a pace game. Charlotte controls pace at an incredible level. If you want to win this game, I think Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler have to control this game fully. I think they stagger. We saw them trying to get back into the realm of lineups and staggering. They're going to stagger Jimmy and Kyle a bunch because I feel like Tyler could probably get caught up in that pace and he starts playing a lot faster and it could get away from you. They need that settling piece. I do think they get this one. I don't think it's an easy game because, like I said before, this is ignitable Charlotte team. But I think this is a good test because we've seen Miami be able to throw different defensive coverages at these, one talented player on a team. When you're playing a team aspect like this, it's an interesting task to see the way they go about it defensively.
Yeah, Bridges is a handful this year and could have been an all-star, playing obviously a little chip on his shoulder here as well. Don't know if we're getting Greg back here. I'm going to get to Jonathan's pick in a second. Before we do, want to mention prizepicks.com. Use the code 5, get your initial bonus match, your initial deposit. This is Super Bowl week. They got the props already up there, so pair them with the Heat game tonight if you want, or just pair the Heat with another NBA team. You can do that as well. Go to prizepicks.com. Use the code 5. We got Paces and Spaces at halftime. The usual crew is on there on Twitter. Post up 5 hours as soon as the game ends. No 5 on the floor tonight, but we will be back tomorrow night. Jonathan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Miami as well, right? We have our full lineup back. It's the second game coming back into that lineup. They're going to have a little more chemistry. I think the main caveat for this game is that we just cannot turn the ball over. If we turn the ball over and we let Charlotte get on a big run, it's going to be too hard for us to come back no matter how good we defend. And defensively, what I think we're going to do Charlotte's not necessarily a big team. They're kind of like one of those middle-sized team. We can probably switch mostly everything here, and I think that's how this game will play out. We'll probably switch things a lot. We'll do a lot of trapping to force them into bad passes, and I think Miami gets it done actually on the defensive end.
All right, I like Miami tonight. I'm nervous about it, but I think Kyle's going to be more impactful tonight. It felt like the other night he's kind of feeling his way back in. And he got 20 minutes. He did have a bunch of turnovers. Only took one one shot. But I think there'll be more of an emphasis tonight. And I think you guys are right. They have to control pace. If this game is 110 or above for both sides, they're not winning it. I feel like they got to pull the pace down tonight. Don't allow Charlotte to get out and spread the floor on them. But I do think they win tonight. I've got some concerns about some of the games that are coming up, but I think they get this one. All right, thanks to everybody for following. Thanks to Biscayne Bay Brewing. Thanks to Mark Brown over at markbrownpa.com, prizepicks.com. Use the code 5, as I mentioned. Pace and space at halftime. Post up 5R after the game. Have a good night.
Let's go Heat.
Questions in the room. Coach, can you talk about Kelly Oubre and Tyler Hero and kind of affair what they each bring to their team, what it's like to have a luxury to have guys like that coming off the bench that can score like they do?
Yeah, Kelly's been a really good addition, for how they play. He's fit right in, gives him a great scoring punch. He's proven that he can be a starter in this league. You have that kind of caliber and firepower off the bench. That's always a luxury. For Tyler, for us, I can't speak to any kind of discussions or what it's like, on their end with Kelly, but for us, Tyler's really our sixth starter. And we view him that way. He plays starters minutes, and he's had a terrific year. He's getting better on so many different aspects of the game, and it all boils down to learning how to impact winning and doing that more consistently every night. I was hoping that he was going to be an all-star, and then I'm still holding out hope that if there's an injured, I know there's one injured player, but if there's any others, that hopefully he'll be selected.
PJ just going to be the game time decision.
Yeah. All right.
Caleb, of course, playing for the homecoming game for him. What has he brought you all?
He's been a joy to have in our locker room. I just love his approach every single day. He has a great urgency, to get better every day. But then when he competes, he has an urgency, to compete to win. He has a lot of qualities that fit our DNA. He's really embraced our player development program. He's embraced the role of being a 3-and-D, player, to really learn our system and be disciplined to that system. He's gotten better every single month defensively for us. He's taken on some big challenges for us, basically 1 through 4 in different matchups. And I think he's, better. He's better in February than he was in September. And that's a credit to his work ethic and his persistence. us, Tyler's really our sixth starter. Questions are what it's like, on their end with Kelly, but for us, Tyler's really our sixth starter. And we view him that way. He plays starters minutes, and he's had a terrific year. He's getting better on so many different aspects of the game, and it all boils down to learning how to impact winning and doing that more consistently every night. I was hoping that he was going to be an all-star. And then I'm still holding out hope that if there's an injured, I know there's one injured player, but if there's any others, that hopefully he'll be selected.
PJ just going to be like a game time decision?
Yeah. All right.
Caleb, of course, playing for the homecoming game for him. What has he brought you all?
He's been a joy to have in our locker room. I just love his approach every single day. He has a great urgency, to get better every day. But then when he competes, he has an urgency, to compete to win. He has a lot of qualities that fit our DNA. He's really embraced our player development program. He's embraced the role of being a 3-and-D, player, to really learn our system and be disciplined to that system. He's gotten better every single month defensively for us. He's taken on some big challenges for us, basically 1 through 4 in different matchups. And I think he's, better. He's better in February than he was in September. And that's a credit to his work ethic and his persistence.
Alex, go ahead.
All right, we'll take one from Jose Pineda. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I should have asked this before the last game, but how much conditioning is Lowry in? And are you watching his minutes? I saw he only played 25 last game, and just wondering if you have an eye test on him or what's going on with.
Yeah, I'm not overthinking it. I said it last game. It's not his first rodeo. He knows how to manage himself and manage games. I'll read it. I don't have a specific number. I'll try not to play him the 40 minutes that I was playing before, he left. But I can't guarantee that.
All right, Coach.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're done here.
Caleb facing each other for the first time, regular season game. Caleb was inactive in the first game. What do you think that's going to be like for them?
We should ask them, but I'm excited to watch them go at it and play against each other. So two highly competitive kids. They love each other, but I'm assuming they've seen this battle before in the backyard. So nothing new for them, but to do this in the NBA, they should be extremely proud. I know their family is extremely proud of them, and both impacting winning on both organizations.
When you watch footage of Caleb when you prepare for this game, what have you seen from anything growth-wise at all?
He's a player we had here. I mean, he's aggressive. He's attacking the rim. He's got great energy defensively. That's why we liked him. And that's why he was with us for a number of years. So we value him, and he's playing with great edge and urgency, which is who he is and who his brother is. They have the same edge, the same competitive spirit. He's attacking the rim, playing with great confidence, impacting the game on the defensive end, just like Cody. So playing at a high level.
You mentioned Cody. What do you see from him of late? Seems like he hasn't had the same kind of production, at least offensively, since he come back, last couple of weeks.
Yeah, keep shooting the ball, play with confidence. But Cody is Cody. He's going to impact this game somehow, some way. He makes winning plays, high-level defender, and continues to play with great edge and urgency out there on the floor. We're going to need him here tonight, to match their physicality, their urgency, their competitive spirit. Cody's made for this game.
Coach, in my sports, teams put emphasis on winning their division first and foremost before the rest of their goals. Like in the NBA, is that a big emphasis for you guys? Teams winning the division, and there extra put on when you play teams that are in your division, or is it more like a conference and standings type of thing?
I feel like it's moved more to conference. My 20 years in the league, even in San Antonio, there was no emphasis put on the division. I don't know where that came from. I think they used to use division as a way to seed, or I'm not sure what the effect there is. I think that's eased over the last couple seasons. I'm not sure what it means. So no, I don't look at it from a division standpoint. I think there's history with those teams. You think just the history of the league says those teams have a little more history together. They play 4 times for sure every year. They're a little bit more close in proximity, so maybe that creates more of a rivalry. Something San Antonio had Houston, Dallas, those teams, maybe a little more rivalry, but I don't see much effect there.
Hey, Coach. What growth have you seen from LaMelo this year? Looks like he's taken another step forward. What have you seen from a coaching perspective since he's really built on last year?
Yeah, I think his maturity on the floor, as far as understanding when to push it, when to pull back. Even last night, he's trying to figure this out. I've seen growth in that area. I don't want him just to throw the fastball every pitch. Play 100 miles an hour. You got to have the balance. Slow down at times, pick your spots, and that's a challenge for him. His motor, his DNA says go 100 miles an hour every single time, and we just got to slow down at times and figure out what's called and what's needed at that time to go win games. And this is new for him. So there's growth there. And obviously we need some more growth in that area, but he's matured for sure.
Tonight, obviously, how much do you guys relish a game like tonight? Talk about last night's game, the disappointment of it, just having the game 24 hours later. Is it a good thing for you to do to kind of piece out your mouth potentially tonight?
Yeah, I think it's good for us just to move forward and, get rid of last night and try to figure out the next opponent and take on the next challenge. And that's what this league's about. It's about responding, and tonight we'll see how we respond. I look forward to seeing where our guys' minds are. There's nobody here feeling sorry for ourselves or, worried about last night. We got to move forward. And that's the beauty of this league. You get to move forward quickly. You don't have to sit on this for a couple of days. So this group's going to challenge us immediately for 48 minutes. So if you feel sorry for yourself and you're licking your wounds for 2 minutes, these guys will pounce on you. So it'll immediately throw us in the fight. So we gotta start swinging from minute 1. Thank you.
They always are. I think it's a hell of an accomplishment for myself and for everybody else. Just shows the work that everybody puts in, how valuable they are, and how there's a lot of really good basketball players in this league. Yeah, I don't be thinking about it like that. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, it's just not. Yeah, no, of course. I think he's been playing at a all-star level. He's definitely been keeping us above water, keeping us afloat with the amount of guys that we've had in and out of the lineup. He deserves it, but he's got a long career and he'll be a multiple all-star. Oh, we okay. I think whenever you put 5 really good basketball players out there on the floor that play the right way, and Kyle being ahead of the snake as the point guard, we find a way to make it work. We got right back in the rhythm like we always do, and got a good win on the road. Yeah, he's confident. We all know that he can put the ball in the basket, but he also does a great job of getting everybody else involved. I mean, he's getting better and better when it comes to making the right read in the pick and roll or in the ISO situation. But if he keeps playing the way that he's playing, I mean, he's going to be key for us down the line.
That's good. All right, we'll take one from Zoom. Adam Lichtenstein from Sun Sentinel. Go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy. Just a quick question. How important was it to kind of get the win tonight, kind of pull out of that 3-game skid, and kind of set the tone for the rest of the road trip?
It's always good to win. We're on a winning streak. We got 1 in a row, so we run with that. We're a much better team when Kyle's back. Much better team when Caleb's out. So, so it feels good to get a dub.
All right, Jimmy. Thank you.
First of all, shout out to Jimmy Butler. He's going to Cleveland. Our all-star. I'm excited for him, and we're excited for our teammate. The last couple of weeks have been extremely tough, but day by day, and just I've had a lot of support, a lot of my organization, the Heat organization. I mean, my teammates, they've been unbelievable, and I appreciate everything from them. My friends, the NBA family, a lot of people reached out, and honestly, I thank them. And like I said, it's day by day, and I just gotta continue to be positive. I wasn't. The other things was kind of more important than basketball. That. It was normal. I had 6 turnovers. It was normal. It's about right. So, no, I mean, like I said, it's easy to play with these guys. Honestly, Jimmy and PJ and Bam, Duncan, Tyler, Dwayne, the Gabe, Max. These guys are, really easy guys to play with, and and Coach Spo. Well, these guys. It's kind of easy to integrate ourselves and to be back with each other. Yeah, it's good to kind of get our flow together. We still had some, mishaps and miscommunications, but that's going to happen with a group that's only played 15 games together as a starting unit. But it's day by day, and we'll watch this film and get better, and we'll figure. We want to continue to figure each other out, and for us, it's long-term game for us.
We're good on Zoom.
Shout out to Fred VanVleet, my young buck, all-star.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like I've had an all-star year to this point. Really all I had to say is congrats to, my teammate Jimmy. That's all I really had to say about it. Of course, my whole life I've been counted out of multiple All-Star games through high school, through college. It's nothing new to me. Kind of, I figured I wouldn't make it. It's all good. For some reason, my name isn't ever in All-Star games. It is what it is. Cool.
Charles Barkley though said you should have made it. Does that mean you should do that?
Not really, no, because I didn't make it, so that means nothing.
Thoughts on how you played tonight? How did you play?
Thought we played well. Obviously, getting off the 3-game losing streak was big for us tonight. We wanted to, really come out here and compete on both ends of the floor for just, 48 minutes. Just wanted to take care of business. We had a bunch of guys who just flew around and make plays on both ends of the floor, so I thought we played well.
We saw the diversity. Make it through. It's just rare for you. Still 40 20s. What does that say about how you develop other athletes?
Yeah, I've always emphasized I'm more than just this 3-point shooter, so you probably saw that a little bit tonight.
Go ahead.
I will take one from Zoom. Adam Lichtenstein, Sun Sentinel. Go ahead.
Hi, Tyler. Obviously, you had a great game tonight, and Dwayne had a pretty solid game before fouling out. What's the mentality for you guys and you guys coming off the bench, trying to give your team, some more energy and stuff?
We just try to pick off, where the first unit left off. We don't want to have a gap in there. We feel like the second unit of ours has some starters that, we're a starting unit. We feel like we can come in and, play both ends of the floor and really help this team win. So, Dwayne played amazing again for us.
All right, thank you, Tyler. That's it.